Logan Speed Shop. Today, back working into the Mazda. Truth be told, filmed a whole video, absolutely hated it, so it's never going to see the light of day. But today, we're going to make some stuff happen. So we've got the engine here. Both manifolds are currently off, just so I can get to everything. Chuck the oil pressure temp sensor in the back there, just a nice Bosch unit. Remove these heater hose lines, as they don't do anything, they just loop around. They're one of those oil cooler thingies, just don't need them. Everything else on this side's kind of been removed, just to work out what's what. It still needs a bit more of a clean, but honestly I'm just going to do that in the car, just because I can't be bothered with the mess, and it's just a bit easier. I might give it a bit of a blast before it goes back in, but we'll see. Chances are I'll chuck it in, chuck some oven cleaner on it, and then give it another blast with the pressure washer. But yeah, been working everything out, got a few bits on the bench. Chuck these in the ultrasonic cleaner, they came up really nice. I'm actually going to chuck, got a bit of a weird mix in there now, bit of a concoction of everything. Yeah, chuck a couple other things in, I think. Just chuck the bloody thermostat in, get that running when the camera's not filming, it gets bloody noisy. And any other little bits and pieces I find on the bench, we'll chuck in as well. And probably the last order I need to from Raceworks has arrived today as well. So, we'll get into that. Got the catch can, got some bits for the oil drain, but more for the catch cam. Sorted it all out. The one bit I do need is this here, an adapter, which allows me to screw that, not into there, but to have the water temp sensor, nice Raceworks fitting one, rather than the stock junk. That'll go into that fitting there. Just waiting on some caps to come to block that water line off, and that one there, as they won't be used anymore. The turbo line that was on there, it's just going to go in the bin, to be honest. As much as I could have used it, it didn't fit that good. The person that made it kind of guessed, or it was just a generic line they put in place. So, got a couple of, in this order, yep, 45, so I got two of these. That will make a new line up with just a spare line I've got left over. So make that fit better, and it'll clear the manifold a bit better as well. The other thing I'm waiting on to arrive now, I was going to do a plate for the core packs, but I've since decided it'd be easier. So I've ordered M6 bosses, so I'll weld them like 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully I can make them fit there. Probably have to just machine them down a little bit just for a bit of clearance. Should be easy enough. It'll be a bit nicer than having a plate, and I'll just bolt in easy like standard. Manifold chilling up here. He is welded up averagely. I'm not great with the TIG and mild steel, especially old dirty mild steel. Just have to machine that face down, then I can paint her up. Turbo I have set, so she is good to go. It has been set to the right position pretty much. I can always adjust it if I need to in the car. Having the internal wastegate, you don't get quite the adjustment you need, especially when one bolt lines up with the bloody exhaust flange like that, but make do, and it should work. That's a 2867 Gen 2 Pulsar turbo. Should be way too much for this engine, but really all I want is for it to sound good. So we'll get it on there once it's in the car. Same with the intake manifold, it's just chilling over there. Probably unbolt that, put the O-ring in there, and bolt it up properly. That way that's done. Once it's in the car, I'll be able to do it up properly. I will be leaving that till the end, just so I can get to everything underneath of it. Just basically the alternator, the starter, any other cables that have to run back there, and building a loom for that, and everything else. Just makes it a bit more simple. But we'll get into it, do a couple little jobbies, bolt a few things onto the motor. Well, pretty much just this, I think. Well, these two. I don't think there's anything else to go on the motor at the moment. And then we're going to see if I can get the car pushed around the front here. Actually, speaking of, we've got the two-tone Sylvia I have been working on. She's all good, she's all done. Driving now, have a look at it. See there, everything is complete. The bay is all looking nice. Obviously it needs a little bit more of a clean up, but old paint you can only do so much. But yeah, it's all completely got ready for a tune at this point. Just fixed an exhaust leak from one of his flanges. Looks like the exhaust is actually too big and was hitting the floor, so made a bit of alteration, so now it'll sit a bit better. But yeah, as you can see, fuse boxes moved into the cabin, nothing there. All the engine looms all nicely redone by myself. Runs under the Mazda there, can't actually see it. And yeah, coil packs, the nice Yaris ones just bolted in there. It is good to go. Pretty excited for the owner to get it. Only thing we're waiting on now is just him to bring a new battery, as the one he had was just destroyed, it was from the crash. Just going to give it a bit of a quick vacuum now as well, get it ready for him. There's a bit of junk in there, but yeah, you can see the interior's back together. He's just got to check his speaker covers on. A little bit of damage to the door trims, but that's more of a him problem than a me problem at this point. But yeah, apart from that, everything else is back looking good. Well, we had a problem. This fitting, the water temp sensor, doesn't actually fit inside that. I've got two options. I can drill it out, or I can get another factory run. Most likely just get another factory one, I reckon. Easy enough, burst and should sell. A couple of fittings on, chuck the one for the drain, so when I mock it up next, be able to position it, get everything tight. Just going to run some push lock hose for that, as it's just going to be really short and I don't want to have to deal with the hassle of trying to upbraid. And the car doesn't need to have braid down there. Just for the engine, just pushed it back in the corner at the moment just so I can get the cars back in the shed. Probably come out here later on tonight and just clean up all the surfaces of all the old gasket goo. Get a razor blade, no one wants to see that, so I won't bother filming it. As for what's next, I guess it's going to be a Bunnings, not a Bunnings run, a super cheap run. A few paints and stuff. I'll show you what's happening on the car, what's going to happen later in the video, I guess. So I'll spread this one out over a few days. Really try and get a fair bit of action of what's happening into the car into this. Apart from a yard full of Sylvias, we do still have the Mazda chilling out the back here. It pretty much just needs me to go around with the wrench and take off all the stuff that's not required. A couple of bits over there, and then just grab some scotchy and give it a bit of paint. We'll pull the heat shield off the back there, the carbon canister, the fuel filters, as that's all getting replaced with some nice billet items. But yeah, pretty much just remove all the junk, remove all the clutter, just give it a light spray over in this corner. Nothing too special, just a bit of a tidy up. Have had some parts come, so do a bit of an Amiyama order. You can see the old Mazda label on that, just a little cover. Can't remember where that trim's for, I have to work it out. The hook to replace, it's not even the right one. I was going to say the hook to replace that, but it's not. Maybe it'll fit somewhere else and it'll work, hope so. What else we got? We got that little thing, is, I don't know. I was going to say it's this thing, I hope it's that bit. That one in the corner there. The steering top cover, another one of Mazda's older logos, a new key because I figure why not. And the biggest one is the belt molds, because they are stuffed on this and they just make the outside of the car look worse. Look, the paint's not beautiful, but it's not absolutely trash, but they bring the car down completely, so replace them. Also got a new mold for the top there, just in case I ever change the windscreen or have it out, I can replace it. Looks like there's a lot of polish there, but who cares. As for what else is required, I went through, did a bit of an order online. So I'm just moving stuff around. Might even get the spoiler painted so I can get that on there. Not too stressed on that one at the moment, as I just want to get it running first. All the junk I removed from the car. Got a new exhaust gasket coming. There's an engine mount. This one, it'll work, it'll bolt up, but it's trashed. So I'm going to a new one of them coming. Got these new bushes chilling from when I got the car. The distributor, I've pulled the rotor out of it, as I'm just going to be running it like a cam angle sensor. Yeah, it won't be the prettiest thing, but it'll work, and it's what I've got. I can always change it later. pretty sure they all run the same plug or thereabouts. Worst case, I repin one. And yeah, just a whole lot of junk. But I guess let's get into it. The next couple of clips should be some action. Not sure, they'll be a couple of days later. But here's hoping we actually have some more stuff happen. Should be hopefully a longer video, this one. Well, a few days turned into a few weeks. Then boom, filmed pretty much the last half of this video. And what did I do? Delete the footage instead of uploading it properly. But what I have done now, so we've got bosses welded on for the coil packs. You can kind of see them in there. Very ugly welds, no prep work really. So 3 bosses welded on. These little M6 bosses. Nice and easy, just half welded them. And then this last one that'll sit using the original bolt hole through there. But yeah, should be nice and simple. Allows me to have GDR coil packs. And see, just testing with a plug there. It's going to be tight for this last one. Might have to make that hole a little bit bigger, just so I can make room for the plug. But that's easy enough done later. And I'll just have to build a nylon spacer or something to hold these down to the right length. At the moment the hardware is just some random hardware. But yeah, nearly got the motor ready to go back in. I mean, I could have done this after the fact anyway. Just got to chase up my dash 8 fittings, find out where they are for these two. That way this can go on permanent. Well, it means I can strip the paint off this and then it can get painted, then it can go on permanently. Seems like a bit of an ordeal for a whole lot, not much. Engine's chilling over there. I'm struggling with time. Can't even find much time to work on this bloody thing. Trying to work out little vibrations still. Even lifted the front up, which I thought was going to look worse. I do like it lower, but I think I can handle it a little bit higher. Just to sort out the axle angle. Unfortunately, there's been no change out here on the car, but I figure I've got the little rattle gun, got a 10mm. Let's spend 10 minutes just ripping shit off, see where we get to, and start prepping things for the engine to go back in. Hopefully I'll be able to find some time between doing all these looms. Been spending a lot more time at one of the boys' shops, PP, Project Performance, doing looms there, so absolutely ate up all my spare time. And yeah, just means I've got to fit this in between whenever I can, so make the most of it now. Just like that, there's a whole lot of shit out of the car. A lot of the heat mat off the firewall, which is just crumbling away. All the other stuff that's not needed. The the injector resistor and a few other relays and stuff. Cleaned up the wall a little bit. Just need to get the water blaster out. give it a good spray down. There's still a little bit of the fire mat, which I need a screwdriver to pop out. Don't have one on me at the moment. The engine bay over there still needs a fair bit of, just give it a light sand and then just give it some paint, clean it up a bit, then the motor's good to go in. I'm not going to do a hell of a lot else. It's not going to be a full restoration, this one, so just trying to make it easy. Anyway, I'm going to finish the video here. Not as long as I would have liked. I wanted a lot more action, but going to divide this whole section up into a few different parts. As, let's be honest, I just don't have time. It's going to take me bloody 3 months to film this whole video, otherwise it's already taken long enough to do this one. But yeah, soon the little Mazda will be back on the road.